Hi everyone, welcome back to another art journal page. I am going to start this page off with a collaged background. And to do this, I'm just using old book page, a little bit of music notes from it's just an old music book that I picked up at Value Village. I think all these books came from Value Village actually. And I'm using something new to glue them down today. This time I've never used it before. Oh my gosh. It is a gel matte medium. It's a matte gel collage medium. I'm not even sure what it is. I'll link it in the description for you guys, but I've never used it before and I've seen other people use it and I've been really, really curious as to what it will be like. And I found it really thick, like really, really thick. It was just really new, different, but oh my gosh, it works like magic. You don't have to have hardly any on the page. Your paper sticks down really, really quick. And it's spread really easily as well. It was really, really nice to work with. Really nice to work with. So, with that being said, that's what I'm using. I took this piece of book page and I used my scissors to cut a straight edge because there's a perforated edge down the coil in this. It's a sketchbook. No, this is my Ohuhu marker book. I think it's for drawing with markers. Anyway, it's a decent quality paper in this notebook. I got it for Christmas last year and I've been using it for an art journal all year because it's a really nice size. It's a larger size than anything else that I work in for collaging and using my ephemera books that I like to buy. So this is actually my kind of a personal happy Halloween card to myself, this page. And yeah, I decided I was going to do one last Halloween and I was going to put it in my journal and I was going to, because this week coming is the end of the month and of course, I'm not going to get any trick-or-treaters here. Oh, yes. Where I am, I'm used to getting well over 100 children every Halloween. And I'm way back in the boonies in a basement apartment on a really beautiful piece of property, staying for a couple of months. It's a short-term rental. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful here. But yeah, there's not going to be any kids coming back in here for trick-or-treating. It's a long drive in. So I took a page with some music on it from that music book that I bought. And I'm just cutting the actual little lines of music notes and just putting a couple in here just for the extra look. I wasn't sure what I was putting on top of this, what my images were going to be yet. I haven't even cut them out. So I just wanted a mix of everything that was on this page and I wanted random shapes and sizes because you'll see what I'm going to do next. So I have everything glued on here and I'm going to give it a quick dry. Then I want to work with I'm going to put some liquid medium, some wet medium on top of this. So I didn't know what that matte gel medium would be like to put it over top of it. So I just am adding a layer of gesso. Yeah, I chickened out. I didn't want to see. I might take a piece of it and glue some paper just onto a random sheet of paper and try it to see, but I didn't do that little test first and I wasn't taking any chances. So I have some cheap watercolors here and I got these from Temu and I mean they are cheap. There's not a whole lot of pigment. I have to put a lot of paint on my brush and make it really thick to get the color, but they're metallic colors. They're very pretty, the colors. And I thought I would do some random oranges and golds and then add some blues and purples in because I got 3 little palettes of these. So I'm literally taking the color and adding it to the different shapes of paper that I glued down. I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing or not, but as each page or as each piece of paper was glued down, it has an edge line, and I'm trying to color in the lines, so to speak. And it's just giving me this background that is very, very random. So I've got some oranges, golds, blues, and purples down here. Again, give your stuff a really good dry. And then I'm going to go into my Halloween personas. It's the Halloweeny Spooky Personas ephemera book from Mary Me's Small Art. And I'm just taking some images out here. Now, I don't even use this bird. This isn't the one that I use. So yeah, and I don't even think I used that image of that girl either. I I really went through this book and I was just looking for sizes and wondering. I have a kind of an idea in my mind. I wanted an image of a child in the bottom right hand corner looking up at the top left hand corner because I thought I would do one of the little people that's hanging on a moon and put it up there in the top corner. I already have it clipped out in my box. I got this pumpkin. You can see these are my final images. So this is the girl I chose. This is the bird I chose. Not the ones that you saw me cutting out there. I cut a lot out before I figured out what I was going to do on this page. And it's like that sometimes. As I'm working in a book, I usually have a little plastic tray from something that I washed out in my kitchen and I kept it. And then I keep all the images while I'm working in that book in that little tray. And I cut more images as I go. When I'm done and I'm not working on Halloween anymore, I will put them in a plastic bag and staple them inside the book so that it stays there until next year when I go back to use that again. So I'm mixing some of that gel matte medium in with some white chalk paint. I don't have a lot of my supplies here. So I'm crafting on a smaller amount of supplies, but I did bring some white chalk paint because you can use it kind of universally in your paper crafting, your art journaling, in your, just if I do some DIYs, white chalk paint's always pretty commonly used. So I mixed some with the gel medium because I know that that will help extend the paint, thin it out, and all I'm doing is trying to push the color back a little wee bit, dull it down a little bit, but I still want to see all the pages that I put underneath, and I still want to see the color. So here's the thing, you can tell at about this point that it's reactivating the watercolor paints a little bit, just a little bit, and it's blending them together and making them a little more subtle. This is turning into a pretty cool, just a colored background page. So there it is. I've dried it and you can see it's matte now, and I can start putting my images on top. I do not like any shine at all to my finished pages. I don't like it. I don't like the way that it looks. I love the matte finish. Even this book is a little shinier. So Mary Me's Small Arts are typically very matte finished magazines or ephemera books, if you will. And they are usually really good quality paper and not very shiny at all. And this Halloweeny one, for me, is a little shinier than some of the other books, but it doesn't really matter to me because when I'm done, I'm kind of mumbling my words here. I'm trying to explain it and my brain's not wrapping around it, but I use matte everything. My gesso is matte. My gel medium I ordered in matte. My Mod Podge, when I use it, is matte. everything is matte. So even if I use magazine pages, which are typically shiny, when I get them done, there's a coat of gesso over top of them and it makes everything matte, right? So I'm gluing down all my images to try to create my picture here. So I've got the girl, the bird is looking up at her. She's looking up at the moon with the little boy sitting in the moon. I just think this is a really cute little image. And because it's so small compared to the size of the main image, the girl that I chose, it's perfect because she's looking up and the moon is smaller, right? So I always have these things going through my head when I'm doing these pages. What would it be like? What's it supposed to look like? Because I'm not an artist. I've never studied anything like that. I just try to think things out myself. If it makes sense to me rationally, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So here's my image all done. I'm just going around, it's all dry, and there's a couple of little edges popping up. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got everything glued down and give it that one last dry. Now I'm going to do my finishing touches. So this is a black Inktense pencil. This is a permanent ink. Once it's been wet and used on your paper and then dried, it won't activate again. It's permanent. I've tested it. I love these pencils. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I think it was Mary Me's Small Art was the first time I ever saw anybody use them. And I went and bought a single ink black pencil, which is this one that I'm using. And then I went and got a set of 6 because they're quite pricey. I did a set of 6. I would love more. If anybody knows where you can buy different colors in just single pencils, and they're around $7 for a single pencil. But yeah, so I'm shading. I'm doing a little shadows behind the bats. And one of the things that I love about these pencils is you can add as much or as little water as you want to them to get a more vivid or a muted color. If you add a little more water, you can make them run like you saw me do there. So for Under the Moon, I am just putting the pencil straight on the paper. And then I'm going to add quite a bit of water to it so that I can activate those little puddles of ink, because that's what these pencils are, is ink. And then I'm going to tap my page down so that I can get this to run. And then I've got that dribbling effect underneath the moon. I love the way I can play with these pencils. They're so much fun, guys. You have to get yourself at least one and try it out. And if you're going to do that, I recommend one of the dark brown colors or the black. I think you'd get more use out of it than anything else, than any of the other colors. Now there's a little bit of white down here between her legs and behind her as she's walking. I'm just using a really watered down version of this black ink to shade in the white areas. I'm putting a little bit of shading just behind the girl. And of course, you saw me do across the bottom. I always put a nice dark bottom where my images, where they're walking or sitting. I like to ground my page when I do it. Now I have my sentiment, which I cut out of the same book, that Halloweeny Spooky Personas ephemera book. And it just says, wishing you a happy Halloween. And then I'm going to take my Inktense pencil and I'm going to create a border around the outside of this page as well. So I'm not going to do it the way that I typically do. Sometimes I go around and I will add ink to the outside of the page all the way around. This time I'm going to take my pencil and in about a 1/2 inch from the edge of the page all the way around. I'm going to draw a line. And this is the other way that I love using these pencils. Like I said, draw the line on with your pencil, then take your paintbrush and look what happens when you just add a little bit of water to that line. It activates that ink and you get this fabulous dark smudged line all the way around your page. Now I'm grabbing my white splatter paint because that's what I use. This is a mix of about 50% water and 50% just crafter's acrylic paint. And I have a bottle in black and in white for this. I'm also taking the splatter paint and going around here instead of a pen because I think it looks better. And this is my final image. I am really happy how this turned out. I hope you are too. If you are, please give the video a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you're watching. Let me know, do you do a Halloween page in your art journal? And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love if you did that before you left so you can come back, see what else I'm up to. I'll see everyone in the next video. Until then, bye-bye for now, everyone. Have a really wonderful day.